Welcome back to the Stag Raw podcast. Have you left a rating? Thanks, team. I think we're nearly at 950 followers there on Spotify, but we're only around 50 5-star reviews. So if you're one of them or you're new around here, that's what we do. Slap those 5 stars. Takes about 2 seconds. And that helps get this out to more ears. So more people can hear from absolute legends. Holy hecker. What a conversation this is. With G.H. Hill, who is the co-founder and owner, head coach there in Kirikiri at the Fitness Lab. You can check out his links in the show notes. Came to us recommended by previous guest Ryan 288, and GJ helps out with the Frozen Few Runners Club if you're up there in the Bay of Islands in the far north. Well, not quite far north, in the Northland. Yeah. What a story. So tune into this because you'll leave this with a bit of gratitude and live every day a little bit more present, I'd imagine. Crikey dicks, what a story. If you or your loved one have some aches and pains setting in or an injury that needs support to heal, consider topping up your body with Kane's Deer Velvet. It's packed full of amazing nutrients that the body uses in maintaining the immune system, bones, joints, circulation, and general well-being. Find out more at www.canesdeervelvet.com. And if you punch the code STAGRAW252 in at checkout, you'll get an introductory 20% discount. Oh, not long left of Drink Element coming into this country. June 21st is when that ends international shipping, unfortunately. But you can get your hands still on a free sample of Drink Element with drinkelement.com/stagraw. And yeah, such a shame. International shipping is free if you're doing an order over $100 US. So you might want to stock up before that ends, and hopefully they can solve that international logistics and we can get more Drink Element into New Zealand. There's a new flavour on the way, so yeah, you might want to hang around for that too. And of course, arepa, the world's smartest brain food, 100% natural, caffeine-free, effects you can feel. Stag Raw will get you 20% off that when you're ordering on their website. You can also find them in supermarkets, dairies, service stations, that caffeine-free brain food. Check it out, drink arepa. Right, let's get into this. Hold on to your hats. What a great conversation we have here with GJ Hill. Enjoy. Get rid of that. GJ, kia ora, mate. I got recommended to you by Mr. Ryan today. I hear you put him through his paces a few times a week, man.
He goes pretty hard, but he's always keen, always up for it, and he enjoys the push. Yeah,
yeah. I suppose he is still looking for that drill sergeant to give him a kick up the arse. So do you take on that persona?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely play to different people's personalities, and he's one of those personalities that likes a strong leader. So actually, I enjoy people like him because I can't give him so much shit. He just cops it, just takes it and then does better because of it, you know.
Yeah. How long have you owned the gym for?
So it's a bit of the actual space we're in at the moment. We're actually coming up a year on the 21st of May. But like that, I've had a group prior to that for about 18 months to 2 years. So it's coming up 3 years with this like a group, and that sort of followed me to each sort of place. And this is our kind of like our forever home now that we're now.
And so has it always been Kirikiri for you, or?
Well, yeah, I've been in Kirikiri for 5 years now, and I came from Gold Coast. I was in Australia for 8 years, spent 7 years in Perth before a year in Gold Coast, and then New Zealand before that. I was originally from Whangarei, but spent a lot of time in Auckland. Grew up in Auckland, and did my high school in Whangarei, but then went to boarding school at Rotorua Boys. And
Well, were you far from family there, or like?
yeah, I was. So yeah, my parents were in Whangarei at the time, so yeah, it was good. I remember I just got my driver's license. It was like a 6-hour drive down to boarding school. Yeah.
And so was that to hit golf balls or play rugby or both? Because they're either end of the spectrum, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It was to hit golf balls at the time. It was a pretty like quiet sort of a kid, and didn't really do well with the aggression in rugby.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it actually suited me at the time to play golf, and I got really good at golf down there actually at the academy.
What did that look like? Because you hear about it that, you know, I've had Ryan Coxon on here who went to St. Peter's for both golf and then turned into rugby. You know, still playing prop out there. But what was Rotorua's system like?
It was actually kind of loose, but like we would have academy every day, and it just meant that we would get coaching. We had a coach on site, and some days that meant that if it was during the day, we'd have basically an hour of sort of swing coaching. But if it was program at the end of the day, we'd have like an afternoon off and go play golf with this coach. And then we'd often go like get a whole day off basically and take the whole academy to play golf somewhere in the Bay of Plenty. But then also because the school had done so well, like we did overseas trips as well. We went to Trans-Tasman and things like that because we had, I don't know if you know the name Danny Lee, but we had Danny Lee, a year below me. So yeah, I basically grew up in his era, and he was he just saw us through everything basically because we won schoolboys and all that sort of stuff. We're, you know, New Zealand's best school at golf, mainly due to Danny. But yeah, it was a pretty cool system. It was didn't do much schooling when I was down there. A lot of golf.
What was the outlook like? Did you just sort of have some sort of pathway to get over to Europe or the States, or? Yeah,
I actually got a full ride offered to me. They call it the full ride, Southeastern Louisiana University, and I was lucky enough to sort of pick that up when I was playing golf in Texas, playing for New Zealand. Basically, a selector came to me from the school, but it didn't end up. I didn't end up going. I kind of I decided to stay in New Zealand for another 6 months, and then went to Australia. And I don't know, it was hard at the time. I was half in and half out of golf at the time, to be honest. And that's when I started partying and everything. And obviously, partying would have been a lot better over in the States. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but
John Daly, eat your heart out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I actually didn't have my first drink till I was 19.
Yeah.
But, once it hits your lips, crazy. Yeah.
Dear idea. And so, what you went to Western Australia instead? Is that what happened?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And so, how did you go from swigging sticks to lifting tin, man?
Yeah.
Not tins, tin.
Yeah. I actually was overweight, quite a big kid. I was about 15, and I don't know. I think actually in the golf academy they told me I should start going to the gym in a kind way, you know, maybe to lose some weight because I was pretty big, and I think I was 115 kilos when I was 14, so I was very big. And
what height? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't that tall. Like I would have been, well, you know, for that weight, 5'10", 5'11".
Mm-hmm.
And then I really fell in love with the gym. I fell in love with lifting weights. I used to run a lot then. I just fell in love with running. I don't run as much now. I slimmed out and everything, and I just fell in love with the routine of the gym. I pretty much got obsessed with it when in my late teenage years and that. And it's obviously carried on now, but it's given me like awesome habits, you know, now. And I actually I didn't realize it back then, but you know, mentally it's so rewarding. And I couldn't live without it now because mentally it helps me so much. I'm an absolute arsehole if I don't work out. And my wife knows that too. Like I start I get real agitated by about 1 p.m. So it's good to get an early workout in for me, and I'm good for the rest of the day.
Yeah, so you're on Sasha's channel here. Did you guys meet through the gym, or that's just a shared passion, man?
Just a shared passion. Yeah, I met her in Auckland when she was at university and that, and yeah, I guess she's been through a little bit too, actually, like with sort of eating disorders and things like that. And I think that's why she understands women so well. She was very thin and didn't actually train that much, but then got into the gym and realized, what her body could do rather than try to be skinny, which a lot of females struggle with. I know a lot of males do too, but predominantly females get troubled by that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting, and you also, the whole leeway for calories and stuff becomes so much better, and you can get on board that protein. And I know Mickey Willardon was also always going on about get on the protein, and all these people go, oh, I don't want to get biggie. It's like, well, prioritize your calories, and if you're active, well then guess what, you get more calories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What do you feel the responsibility is like when you own a facility and you're working with a group? How do those sort of conversations get broached?
It's so funny you brought this up because we were talking about this the other day. It's I've been real careful about how I talk about food and training and all that, because we've got some extremely committed people that will literally they would train all day every day if you let them get carried away, basically, and which is cool. That's really cool. You've got some seriously. I've never been in a gym like it. I'm not saying it because it's ours. We've got some people that are just so bloody committed, and it makes for a pretty. It's a welcoming environment, but it can be quite competitive. And I just have to watch what I say and what I do and everything, because they will tend to do whatever I tell them. So they'll completely break themselves to do certain things for me. For the plan or for the program. So yeah, I don't know. We've had nutrition seminars, which Sash took, and training seminars. Just because there's so much out there on social media about what you should and shouldn't be doing. It's pretty easy to get caught up. So we've just had some real honest conversations and talked about our own backgrounds and our own struggles, because we have struggled in the past and still do, because we're all human. And I think there's a lot of people that don't know. Well, we all know how to eat, but don't know how to eat at the same time, because we all have emotions in that, and emotions come into play.
Yeah, nice. So one of the key things Ryan said, you've been through non-Hodgkins lymphoma. We've had oh gosh, I keep forgetting his name. He's on the West Coast. I'll figure it out again. But and he sort of had to deal with graft host disease. What was your sort of time frame of when the condition came about, and what was sort of thrown at you stage 4? Right, that's pretty daunting.
Yeah.
If you want to run us through it, man. And I'm sure you've probably spoken about it too much.
It's good, because I get approached a lot from people who are going through similar a lot often, so it's quite nice to sort of reach out if I can. So we came back from Africa, awesome trip to Africa. Felt a little bit tired over there and thought I had malaria, so I was dosing myself up for malaria and things like that, and had this cough that just persisted and would not go away. And I got sick a few times. There were flu-like symptoms, but I was going to the gym and just getting more and more tired, weaker and weaker. And I just thought, oh, you've been soft. It's something, you just need to keep going. It'll be all right, and it'll shake it off. And had antibiotics and all this sort of stuff. And actually went to the doctor, and they dismissed it as asthma, which was a bit upsetting, but it is what it is. Eventually, what happened? I actually went for a police test. Did the I think it was a 2.4K run, and just missed the time. And I was like, "What the hell? I can do this!" It was easy. It was meant to be I think I was meant to run under 11 minutes for 2.4Ks or something like that. And I'd done it easy before, and I was like, "Something really wrong with me." And I went in for a respiratory test as part of the police test, and I blew a quarter of what I was supposed to do. Couldn't blow. And then the doctor said, we're going to send you for a chest x-ray. And yes, got sent for a chest x-ray. And within this time, like, man, this is like real quick turnaround. Like, this is within a couple of weeks. I went out for dinner, couldn't really eat dinner, couldn't breathe. And the next morning was a Saturday, and I just remember getting a phone call from our family friend who's also a doctor. I thought, he's ringing on a Saturday, this can't be good. I just remember sitting up on the bed, and I was like looking at the phone, almost started crying before it, because I like had obviously searched up Google, and yeah, Google had come up with actually cancer, like, you know, all these things. And yeah, he said, oh, Gary, can you come into the doctor's office? And I said, oh, what's wrong? And he goes, I got to talk to you in person. I said, I know it's bad, Graham, just lay it on me. He's like, nah, you got to come in, bring Sasha. And I was like, just tell me. He's like, I can't. I was like, when should I come in? He's like, come in now. Oh, fuck. It's like 8 a.m., you know? So I went in, and yeah, he told me that it's probably, cancer of the lymph nodes. It's late stage because there's a 16 centimeter tumor pushing on your, like, it's huge, pushing on your lungs, my left lung and my heart. And that was just the basis of it, because they just done an x-ray. Said, I don't know much more, but do you feel okay? And I said, oh, I'm not too bad. I just, a bit breathless now. He's like, well, they were thinking about admitting you now because you shouldn't be standing.
Wow.
I've been going to the gym and shit and things like that, and like brushing it off. And I was like, oh, shit. He's like, it's like, I see, it's pretty bad, but it's treatable as far as I know. But he's just a GP. So, like, not saying anything against GPs, but he needed to go to a specialist, basically. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I went to the specialist, thought it would be, oh, you'd be all right, be stage 2 or something. I'll be all right, get through this. Stage 4, oh, bloody hell. You know, because you hear about stage 4 and you reckon you're done for, you know. So
what was going on that it was stage 4?
It was that 16 centimeter tumor. There was some around my heart, as like there was fluid around my heart that was cancerous as well. That was putting pressure on my heart. There was some tumors in my neck. And at the time I didn't even think about it, but like my neck was real hard, like I had lumps in my neck. And I check myself like that. There's lumps in my neck, I could feel them. There's some in my lungs, and some down by my kidneys. Yeah, so widespread. Yeah, so I was pretty rooted. But the doctor said, look, if treatment goes well, you can be like treated and cured, basically. Wow. Because the drugs have come such a long way, but it's going to be a hell of a journey, basically. And it was really interesting, because actually my first meeting with her was like, she was like a robot, and it sucked. Like I couldn't get any emotion out of her. Kind of felt like I don't know, didn't feel very good. But I now know that's because she didn't have enough answers. We did all these tests and blood tests and things like that, and they actually took a lymph node out of my neck, which they couldn't put me under for, because there was so much pressure on my heart that if I went under anesthesia, I probably wouldn't have woken up. That's what they were saying. So they're worried about that. So they cut into my neck while I was still awake, which was pretty bloody interesting. But when she had the answers, she was a lot more emotional and connected with me a lot better. I think she never said this to me, but I kind of worked out that she didn't have the answers to start with, and she wanted to make sure that she was right with everything. And yeah. And the one thing that hurt me the most is that they said that I wouldn't be able to have children, but they said it just like that, and I started crying because we're trying for children at the time. And but then she said, if you go to the sperm bank now before you start treatment, you've got to put stuff away. And that was I don't know, that just really hurt me. I don't know, as a man, getting told that you'd be sterile after treatment, sort of, I don't know, that really got me. Even though I was sitting there facing stage 4, that one, I don't know, it just really struck me, eh?
So that was in the raw first appointment, like,
yeah, that was
got to go down the hall now, or if you want kids, if you're around.
Pretty much. And we went down to Auckland, like straight away with the clothes on our back. I'm in a specialist in Auckland, and he said, like, I'd like you to start straight away, as in like tomorrow or Monday. And it was like a Wednesday or Thursday. And I said, "Oh, stuff it. Let's start tomorrow." And we never went home 7 months. We stayed in Auckland 7 months from then on in. Yeah. And I thought, because I just had like they told me, like, you need to get onto this, you need onto this. I was like, there's no point delaying this crap, I've got to get into it. So, and I mentally I was pretty good at that stage. I was like, I've got this. I'm not going to freaking pass away. But it got worse and worse for sure. My mental state dropped out as I started to get weaker and everything like that, and the drugs started kicking in. The dark thoughts started kicking in as well.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. It being such a rush, how do you sort of pick a feeling? Like obviously you picked right, let's go, and then you got to get treated, start feeling like shit, and sit around for a while, and then all the other ones must start coming in: the bargaining, the doubt, the depression, the anger.
Yeah, you're right about the anger too. There's a lot of why me, like feeling sorry for myself a lot. But then I thought, oh, what if this was your wife? And that made it quite easy because I was like, I'll take it for her. I'll take it for my family members, things like that. And obviously, the doctors told me that, like, being really healthy beforehand helped me a lot. And that's part of it. Like they said, part of why I started straight away. They said, you're losing condition really quickly. Because at that stage, I started losing weight. So you need to start now. And I felt that. So that's why I just like, let's start tomorrow.
Yeah. I remember, I always forget his name, unfortunately. Joshy Coleman is his name. He's down on the West Coast, and he was big on trying to find, because he had this graph for his host, so he connected with Wim Hof method to try and just really balance down his immune system. What were some adjunctives while you've between therapies? What did you try and optimize?
I started off trying to be a vegan.
Yep.
And I actually didn't mind at the start. And like, even mentally, if you think you're doing the right thing, it's going to help a lot, even
Absolutely.
if it's not, So I did that for a bit. And then I thought, shit, man, I'm not used to this food. And I feel a bit weak. Why change things now? Let's get some protein back in meat back in your diet. And try and enjoy food for a little bit. Because food's going to make you happy as well. Like I had that sort of going through my head. Why don't I just enjoy myself a bit? Because I eat well anyway, even though I eat meat and all that sort of stuff. I eat really well. So let's just get all that stuff, hold your condition. So for a couple of months, vegan. Well, maybe a month vegan, and then I got back into eating high protein because I thought, man, I'm going to try and keep my weight on. Because I've seen a lot of people fade away and pass away. So that hit me hard. Okay, let's keep eating, keep getting food into your mouth, and also, like, funny enough, keep moving, keep walking. I don't know where that came from. I'm just looking at my wife right now. I don't know where that came from, but I just had this feeling of when people like slow down and really start to pass away, they just stop moving. Everything, the body thrives off movement. So even though I was feeling shit, I would always try and go for a walk. We walked around the park. We did all these sort of things, just to feel good. So I didn't do a lot, to be honest, because I was pretty rooted. But I did try and walk when I could and get some fresh air when I could. There's also, like, it was in summertime, so it was really hard. Like, I wasn't meant to be in the sunlight because of all the radiation I was going through and that. But I got a bit of warmth, got a bit of sunlight, because sunlight is good for you. I actually walked to a lot of treatments with my wife. I think a lot of those things helped because the more I sat still, the more I did, the less I did, the worse I felt about myself as well. And I like for a good few months there, like, because a lot of sick people around when you go into the chemotherapy ward or cancer ward, I'd always say to myself, like, I'd try and be like a beacon of health to everyone. Like, I'd walk in there with my chest real proud. I just kept repeating this sort of stuff. And it sounds a little bit corny, I guess, but like I was like, I always want to be the strongest person in the room, walk into that room. And that lasted a good while. That lasted, like 3 or 4 months until I got, maybe 5 months until I got real ill and struggled to even get out of bed. But that definitely helped, I think. It got me through most of it. Man, I don't know, like because the chemo was so hard. Like I was like praying for it to stop every day. It just got harder, and I felt real good after 2 months because a lot of the cancer was disappearing. This is the other thing. They said that they would downgrade my drugs because I was basically it's called beer cop escalated. It's like the highest amount you can have. I had 7 different chemotherapy drugs. Like most people, when they do it, go through cancer, they might have 1 or 2. But I was having 7 different compounds. And this is the reason why it works so well, though. Like, they basically bomb you. They bomb you with this stuff. And it's only a late treatment a treatment that's come out of Germany in the late 2004 or 5 or something. Came out of Germany. And I was obviously doing this research.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about it. What year were you having this?
So this was 5 years ago now, so 2018. Yeah.
2018.
Yeah.
So you obviously you've done sort of research and stuff to get to where you are. How much energy did you have to put into the books and the papers and the like you said, there's information everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
I'm thinking 2018, what was being circulated around? Like Tim Ferriss was talking about fasting and getting Dom D'Agostino on and stuff like that. Like there's one adjunctive, then there's like hyperbarics over there, there's cold therapy over there, there's like say vegan over here and carnivores over there. Like far out. What do you do?
I know. And that's what I was like, it was a bit of everything, and I think I was having turmeric and ginger as well.
Yeah.
What's that? And fresh juices. I was actually, that's right. My my best mate's old man said I need to do squeezed juices, so I got this big bloody juicer and did that. And the problem is like I got too sick to even like worry about this stuff. Then in the end, like I was that bad that I had like all these ulcers down my mouth because my immunity was so low, and I was so rooted that. I literally had to have like sago pudding and like yogurts and things like that just to get food in near the end. And so, I did a lot of research to start off with and pulled out what I could. But I got so sick that it didn't even matter in the end, you know what I mean? Like I just had to sort of, go with the flow and whatever was happening was going to happen. And just that's what actually I think helped me in the end. I just trusted the doctors wholly that they're going to do their job. These guys have been doing this stuff for many years. I've got a specialist behind me that is one of the best in the country who's been doing it for 35 years. Terrible bedside manner. Won't tell you you're going to be okay. Like, no. Like, am I going to be okay? He's like, can't tell you that. Like, can't even give you a payment back or anything. But, wholly trusted him and, it worked out. Yeah.
So was it a matter, like you say, you were praying for it to be over? Was it a matter of showing up and just kind of then being like, here we go again, good luck?
Pretty much, man. It was like, hook me up. It was. I just had to, I wanted to stop. I did actually want to stop and to actually like keep it going. Like we got through, was it five cycles? And I had to do 7 cycles, I think, from memory. And by the 6th cycle, I was like, man, I'm so over this. Like, because you're just like real bloated. You're getting pumped through it full of this like crap. And like it's so bad that when it goes through you and you get a bit of pee in the toilet seat, you have to clean it up like really well, clean up everywhere because that's radioactive and you're like, no one else can touch that shit, and that's going through you. It burns your veins. Like I've got all my veins are burnt out on one of my arms. When they miss a vein, they're just like searing pain. It just burns into your body. So like every day, I don't know why they didn't give me a line up here. They meant to give me a line up here, but because they said I had good veins to start with, they were just smashing my veins to start. So like I'd get pricks in my veins like every day. Like so you're getting needed, and I don't like needles. I don't know who does, but I was getting needles all the time, like pretty much every day, man. And I'd get admitted to emergency all the time because I was so sick. The drugs were effectively destroying the cancer, but they're also destroying everything good in my body. So I would get sick, very sick all the time. My heart rate would shoot up, my blood pressure would shoot up, and basically it's sepia, it's blood poisoning. So I was getting blood poisoning like every couple of weeks and admitted into emergency. It was so bad. Like man, we had to like get my temperature, take my temperature all the time because as soon as it hit like semi-bad, like 38.5, I had to go straight to hospital. And that just leveling anxiety, like I'd just be up all night, just taking my temperature all the time. Like I just so anxious. Like just imagine being like anxiety 24/7 for like 7 months. That's basically what it was like. Like you just a freaking wreck. I think like there was a time actually too, like I was like, I didn't want to go to sleep because I was scared that I wouldn't wake up in the morning. So I'd often just like stay awake till sunrise and then just let them like drift off. just sort of stuff that goes through your head. You just go through to like a mentally different place. So
Yeah. So you said you were in Auckland for 7 months.
mm,
Where did you find Sanctuary, man? That sounds real strange.
yeah, man, that's a good question actually. I think there was periods where I was like a bit like where I could relax. I think I had some people come in from the outside, which was like my dad, my mum, my wife, and her parents. When they came in and out and they talked about stuff on the outside and what they're doing their day to day, that helped a lot, like a bit of normalcy,
Mm.
They often didn't ask, how I was doing because obviously I was doing shit. I didn't look very good. I'd lost like 30 kilos by then, and I was pale white. So I think like for me, it was the normalcy that helped. That's where I could kind of relax. I couldn't watch TV and I couldn't watch movies. I had a PlayStation, couldn't do any of that because I just couldn't like concentrate long enough and enjoy it because I just keep thinking back to like dying and cancer and am I going to live? And it wasn't a good enough distraction, which is strange because it usually is for me. Like I enjoy watching like YouTube or I enjoy watching Netflix. I just couldn't do any of that. I couldn't read. I had all these books. I started reading and it wasn't enough. It was people that I could, my family that I could sort of lean on a little bit and ask them about their day. Like even Sash, she was still working. My wife was still working and she'd tell me about what she was doing at work. And I wasn't, stuff like that just helped a lot, I guess.
Mm.
Distracted me. Yeah.
Was it a bit of vicarious living?
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Wow, that's gnarly. So, like, you said round 6, it was like, fuck this, 2 to go, fuck this. Then you got through 7. Then what do they do to you? Like,
yeah, it was.
Is it a matter of go live your life and we'll check in on you?
Yeah, it was interesting, eh? It was actually a little bit like that. It was same thing. The specialist, we went down there and he goes, "Oh, I suppose," because I never actually had any radiation. It was all it was chemotherapy radiation. So I don't know at the time the difference. Chemotherapy is the IV into your bloodstream, whereas radiation is the direct, the beams into your body. But I only had IV chemo because I was quite young, and where the cancer was sort of drawn into my chest, if they shot my chest, there's a very high chance of getting lung cancer. So they didn't know. And that's when we got to the specialist appointment, and I'd finished everything. Fuck, this is a good feeling. I'm starting to feel all right. Just got out of hospital, I should say. And he goes, I suppose we should talk about radiotherapy. And I'm like, what? I thought the plan was to just do chemo. And he goes, yeah, I don't know. Like that.
Still don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa, like it scared the shit out of it. Like, what do you mean you don't know? And like I can remember it clear as day. And then we were like a little bit like upset. And he goes, well, we got a meeting next week because they have these meetings every week, and all these specialists come together and they put your case up on the board and they discuss your case. And that happened. Like we had updates sort of bi-weekly from these meetings. And that's where he said, oh, we've got a meeting next week. And we'll discuss it then. So until then, here's this medication you need to keep taking, and we'll see you next week. It was so weird. So anyway, went off, came back next week, and we're just going to monitor you. You don't need radiation. Purely because they do this, like they got this awesome machine now called a PET scan. Anyone who's got sort of been through cancer will have that now. It's like this multi-million-dollar machine. And it can show any activity through your whole body that's cancerous. And with my PET scan, basically I was PET negative. But with any kind of machine, there's a degree of inaccuracy. And so they give you this kind of percentage. And like my percentage was okay, pretty good. They were happy that this big sort of scar tissue that was draping over my aorta now, that was originally this big bit of cancer, which is now like systolic, is not cancerous. So go on with your life, and we'll give you 3 months bub and see how you go, basically. Got to watch your first 2 years, because that's when it can come back. Come back really, really quickly, and then got to watch your 5 years after that, because it could still come back, but low chance, but very high chance in the first couple of years. So it's kind of like, it's bittersweet, because the first 2 years you're looking over your shoulder every fucking 5 seconds, and like mentally, after everything I've been through in those last few months, I wasn't right for my first year anyway. I was a bit vacant, because I had to be to kind of deal with it,
Mm-hmm.
My wife says that I was like a little bit weird for a year. I thought I was all right. But yeah, like it was just, I think, a coping mechanism, Like I just was a bit vacant, a little bit emotionless and that for the first. But I remember being pretty happy that I was alive, because I thought I wasn't going to make it in the end there. I originally said to myself, I'll get through this treatment, and if I get 6 months, I'll be really happy, That's what I just kept saying. This just sort of got me through it. Yeah, well, I'm 5 years now. I was 5 years in March, so just gone 5 years. So just celebrated that. So I've done really well. And, one of the boys that was with me passed away. He didn't make it through his couple of years, I think, so it's pretty real. It's pretty raw, like very, very lucky to be here. And I'm definitely a different person because of it.
Absolutely. Far out.
Yeah.
Now, that scar tissue, what is that still draped over your aorta at 5 years on, or is that?
Yes.
So it's still part of you. Fuck.
Yeah, still part of me. Yeah. Yeah. And if it had been active tissue, it would have done something by now, I hope, supposedly. But yeah, they said not to worry about it on that, which is pretty cool. And because of the new machines, I didn't have to have that radiotherapy, which in the past they would have blasted me with that radiotherapy, and it would have been like, a high chance of sort of getting lung cancer later in life. Which is, it's pretty cool that they've got that sort of stuff. Like when you hear of cancer now, you think I'm done for, but there's the treatment options are pretty amazing now. Yeah, so like that's what I try and tell people that are going through it is the doctors are pretty amazing. Have lots of faith in them. There are options and avenues, and I'm obviously one of the lucky ones. But I did all the right things beforehand and after as well. I think. But in saying that, some people can do all the right things before and after and still, pass away. So it's not entirely their fault.
Does bone marrow transplant ever need to come into it?
Yeah, they mentioned that, and they said, do you have a brother and sister, that sort of thing, because they're usually pretty good matches. Because they did this big cop escalated, and it did so well, and it didn't come back, obviously. It was not mentioned again, basically. Which I believe if it came back, that would be the only option. Because I've had such high levels of chemotherapy. I don't know if people know this. I didn't know this. You can't just have it again. It won't work. Your body's like too adaptive. Your cells are too adaptive. They know. They'll fight against it, basically. So like your good cells will literally fight against it, and they won't let it basically infect your body like it should do. And I didn't know that until I started getting treatments. I was like, no wonder why people pass away, because you get to a point where they can't do anything for you because it's not working, And for like that's the other thing why they keep checking me. Like I was really lucky because in my first couple of cycles, basically I'd gone from like all this like crap, like all these red spots. They show you the scan, red spots everywhere, all this cancer, to having bugger all left in my body after a couple of cycles. So it had done really well. It done its job, basically. But they had to keep hammering me with it. And usually they would have downgraded, which this is a specialist call. They decided to just keep going, hammering me with it, because I was in pretty good shape for a cancer patient.
It's caveat for a
it is. Absolutely.
Like it takes round 6, fuck this. And they're like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
you do it well, mate. Oh, what?
But basically, if I had downgraded, there's a chance. If there's a chance, if there's like 1% of cancer, 2% of cancer left in my body because they are downgraded. This is how it comes back, And so the nurse was always saying to me, the specialist nurse was saying, it's short-term gain, not short-term pain for long-term gain. She just kept saying it to me every day because it was going to be a short-term pain. It's going to be a lot worse, yes, but long-term, your outlook's going to be so much better if you just get hammered with this high-level stuff.
Mm-hmm. When you said that third round you were starting to feel better, was that just like getting your breath back and getting your circulation back?
Absolutely, yeah. Breath back, circulation. I don't really, like by the time I got treated, I couldn't lie on my back because the weight of the tumor was like pushing on my lungs and my heart.
Wow.
So by the time I got treated, I couldn't actually sleep on my back. When I bent over, I felt this huge weight like throwing me forward in my chest. It's just all this like this massive tumor in my body, eh? Yeah, and like I read back on the notes, and it's not, none of it's good. Like you have this, they give you like a score out of like, I think it's out of 7 or something like that. I think mine was a 6.
Oh,
apparently, yeah, like it's pretty, like it's as bad as it gets, pretty much. Hans Cleaver. I think the one thing that saved me was my age or something like that. That brought the score down.
Yeah.
But it was bad to be a male. Check. Yeah, like all these blood scores. I had all these bad blood scores and stuff. So it was good. Like at that time, I didn't know all this stuff, so it was quite good because less information was kind of more that sort of stuff at that time. And they didn't actually show me my original scan. It was shocking, really shocking. Yeah, all this cancer through my body and that. I'm lucky they didn't show me because I wouldn't have liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, in hindsight, which is always 2020, the ambiguity probably allowed you to have hope in yourself, but maybe if they'd showed you like this is how shit things are, you would have gone,
yeah, I'm dead.
Oh man. So like obviously you've nuked your lymph nodes and stuff. What was the runway for getting your immune system back?
Yeah. So I actually went to Fiji as soon as I got a little bit healthier. And I reckon this helped me a lot. Just having like super unprocessed food, like fruits over there, and lived quite simply. My nan and granny live in Fiji, and getting a lot of sunlight, a lot of warmth. I stayed away from New Zealand in winter because I was so scared of getting sick all the time, and my immunity was real bad. Like my white blood cell count, even now, 5 years later, is still not great. So I don't actually tend to get sick very easy, which is quite good. I still my immune system's pretty good. But basically, I went over to Fiji to eat really good food, relax for a little bit, try not to stress too much. Got a lot of sunlight, swam a lot, all the things that you do on holiday. But I did it for sort of 8 to 10 weeks, and had that turmeric and ginger, which I think helped a lot. I just kept smashing that. Had vitamin C as well. I didn't have any infusions, which some people have asked me about, and I don't know why I didn't actually go through. Oh, I think I was just sick of needles.
Don't like needles.
Yeah. Just like over it. I was just over getting poked and prodded. I just hated the thought of being sitting on an IV after been doing it for the last 7 months, So I didn't do any of that. I actually got into the gym as soon as I could. I was training over there and that, and did lots of walks. And man, I bounced back so quick, like unbelievably. And I can't tell people enough like how well, like it's almost unbelievable how well I bounced back. Like if you see pictures and stuff, you almost think I'm faking the timeline. It's ridiculous. Like, and I don't say that to many people. Like I feel like I'm being arrogant, like or cocky, but it's stupid. I remember putting a couple pictures on Instagram and stuff, and people were like, "No way! Like you're on drugs." I was like, "I can't be on drugs, man. Like I've just come out of cancer ward. Like." Like people didn't believe me. It's just I think being in Fiji helped a lot. Being fit beforehand, all that sort of stuff. The bounce back was just so much easier.
Yeah, man, it's pretty incredible. I was scrolled back through your page and I was like, exactly that, trying to
Yeah.
get the timeline right. You're exactly right, mate. So
Yeah.
prior to the timeline, Freddie Fittler, what's he like?
Yeah.
The rookie. What? How did you do that?
Yeah, that was cool, man. That was like my brother actually said, "Hey, man, there's this league thing for what did he say? Not has been. It's the other thing. Like never was. Like people never made it. Like that's how he sold it to my brother. He's like, you should.
Well,
try
like you
this."
said at high school, you just didn't have the aggression, so you were playing
Nah,
golf.
yeah, played golf. Yeah, and I really enjoyed watching league. Played a bit of union in Western Australia, and I thought, and I was really fit at the time. Just like because I worked away in the mines, I used to just train 6-7 days a week for basically my stress, like my anxiety and my stress levels and everything. I just love training to get rid of that. And into this rookie thing. And I made the first cut. They flew me to Sydney and did like a fitness trial basically, and pushed myself till I always say, till I shat myself just basically in this fitness trial. And Freddie Fittler, Brad Fittler, yeah, basically like took a shining to me. He just, I was about 100 kilos, first guys there, and he just said the push that I had is amazing. And then I had another interview and made the final cut basically to go into this rookie house in Sydney to get trained by these guys. Awesome experience, man. So cool. So lucky to go through that, eh?
And so, did they chuck you in the centres?
Yeah, they wanted me to start in the centres, and I was a little bit flat-footed, so they chucked me at prop. And
Right, yeah.
To be
Warrior
honest,
Hargrave styles.
yeah, that actually suited me better, and I really enjoyed it. It was, just making so many tackles a game, like a lot more. I don't know. I wish I played league a lot earlier. Union was okay, but because of my personality, like I need to have contact early. I needed to have contact early on. I needed to be involved a lot, and I felt that I had that with league. At prop, making 40 tackles a game, opposed to being at 8 or 6 in union when you're making 6 or 7 tackles in a good game. It's a lot, it's a lot different. It kept me in the game. It kept my aggression up. Otherwise, I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit like a sleepy giant when I've, just need to be woken up a little bit. And league did that to me, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like you're right when it comes to 8 and 6. Like I always wanted to play 7, and that's because like you're off that set piece and you're into it, and then you're like having an influence, and hopefully you can pop out and get to the next one as well. Whereas especially if you're 6, you're like out of it until it comes back your way. And when I went to Australia, I shouldn't have really played. I had concussion, but they chucked me in that lock, and I was like, this sucked. I might as well go back to playing fullback and just watch the game again.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Whereas prop, exactly right. You watch the guys, especially in those first few 20 minutes or something. I was watching what is his bloody name? Played for the Bulldogs and then the Roosters. He's on a podcast now. My memory today is crap. Anyway, he was just like going on. They mocked him up one game, and he was just going, "I'm a 21-minute player. I'm overdue. I'm working overtime now." Willie Mason, bloody hell!
Willie Mason, yeah. I remember that mic'd up game. He was hilarious. He was awesome.
Yeah, and I think on the podcast they're saying that they played each other, and just like that's is it Scope or Skip, whatever his bloody name is, he was just saying like don't talk, whatever you do, don't talk to Willie. Then the Knights put over a bomb and their winger dropped it, and then they had a scrum and he just comes in and goes, wingers, eh? And everyone's pissing themselves laughing. Yeah, like was there a prop that was one of the coaches or a centre?
Yes, there was. MG. What's his Mark Geyer.
Yeah, that was right.
Yeah. He was awesome. He was pretty cool. He's it was. I felt like I got a pretty good ride there. Like I think Brad actually took a liking to me. That's sort of how I got in there. I think, I don't know, but yeah, lucky with my body and that, and I was real fit at that stage. And I didn't realize, man, like getting behind the ruck, the 10 meters with league. Like, yeah, if you get repeat sets, like if one of the boys, like, freaking touches the ball and you get a repeat set, like it was horrible. I've never felt anything like that in union ever. Like maybe hitting a couple rucks in a row and then making a tackle in union. But to do like repeat sets and getting back 10 meters behind the ruck, like hats off to those league boys. There's so much. It looks slow on TV. For me, I don't know. When I was watching on TV, I know league's faster but it didn't look that bad. Whenever I watched league, I was like, oh man, those guys are like walking back, like them. The first was so much harder. I remember I went and played a tens tournament in Byron Bay afterwards, union, and I was like, this is easy. Like I was so easy compared to like playing, league, with just getting just behind the ruck. That 10 meters is fucking horrible.
And if you're involved in the tackle, how hard is it to get that dominant position so that you can pop up and get into marker? Did you learn enough of that?
Yeah, it was so hard. Yeah, I was like real crap at wrestling. There's a lot to it. I didn't realize it was that much to it. Like I was wrestling against guys. We had actually wrestling practice as well with wrestling coach and that. But I was wrestling against guys that were 15 kilos lighter than me, and they were like flipping me on my back easy, and definitely a lot to it, man. And if you get your position on their back, slow down the play of the ball, makes it so much easier for everyone around you, yourself getting back at the marker, but yeah, if you don't get in the right position, you get back to the marker and you get the next prop running at you probably because you're slow to mark. Sucks. Absolutely sucks.
And you got to get in line and go too early. Then it's like you say, repeat sets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Nothing like, yeah.
So who did you play against?
We played like representatives in New South Wales. Like I remember we played like and in Queensland we played like these representative sides. I don't know. They were different types of levels and that, but we played it. We went down to Melbourne and played. They're like 20. They had. I don't know if they have the 20s anymore. They had like the under 20s Melbourne team. With like and that was interesting actually. Like they were really huge, They were huge, but because they were younger, like they were just a bit easy to bully, Like they were big boys, big island boys, like a lot of them over 100 kilos and running really well and hard. But just because they were younger, they were easier to sort of throw around that. But then we played this like representative boys, which had some old league players in the team. And I thought this would be an easy match. They carved us up, They're real hard, like they bullied us. They put us in, bad positions, kicking it behind us, got us against repeat sets, and they just played the game like really well. So that's when I started to understand about that sort of, that knowledge, that rugby knowledge and all that just helps us so much. Harder, older bodies, used to, better at timing tackles and things like that. Even though they might not have been as strong and as big as these younger guys, they were better at timing tackles and hitting you. Yeah. And that was a rude awakening. I remember that.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty fascinating game where you see just people do a held up and kind of go to ground, and then other times you'll see the 1, 2, and the third over the top, and you go, Jesus Christ, I don't want to be out there.
Yeah, big shots in league, man. Big shots. I know it's a big difference. Because obviously you get a lot of one-off running in there.
Yeah.
You get people flying out of line that you don't see a lot as well. Big shots, and I used to love that. Like there was some huge contact, and you get away with tackling a bit higher in league as well. You can you can push the envelope a little bit. It's funny, man. Like Brad Fitter, I had hired a couple of guys and got penalties, but he liked it. He liked the aggression, just that blue collar that you kind of get in league,
Yeah. Yeah, it's right. Especially when we do the W half and you're running around, he wants to see his big boys doing damage.
Yeah, 100%.
Who did you play for in Byron?
There was like a crew from Queensland. I got, because I was in the rookie now, I just got hit up by heaps of clubs around, and I think it was like oh man, I can't remember. Like there's this guy from Queensland that pulled a lot of boys in. It was the senior representative side that they brought down, and yeah. I think I just turned up on the day and played for them, to be honest. They were training and stuff, but I just come back from rookie, so I couldn't obviously train with them and that. And I was like, yeah, I'll play for you guys. And end up making some good friends from that. And that's when I think we moved to Gold Coast at the time, so it suited me. Yeah.
What was your first ruck like? Were you like, play the ball?
Where'd I go? On the side.
Beep.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Different game. Yeah, roll away. Wow. No, that's pretty good. And what sort of stuff did you pick up at the Gold Coast? Like, I lived in Ballina, and just the lifestyle. Like, we were 5 a.m. class. I was getting up at 4:30, going to class, then go to the beach, go to work. Like, after class we'd go and have a coffee and stuff, because it's still 6 a.m. and
Yes.
sun's coming up, and just that lifestyle of down on the water and things like that. What did you pick up in Gold Coast? Because plenty of people around Ballina and Byron Bay, they went over to like Bay of Islands and stuff, and around Northland, and they come back and be like, oh, it's just like Byron was 20 years ago. And you're like, oh, is
it? Yeah. I love the cafe lifestyle over there, eh? And like you say, the sun would come up so damn early. I remember, I just remember, no daylight savings. You're right on the border of New South Wales and that, and like sort of 5 a.m. everyone's out and about running and stuff. I really enjoyed that active culture there. The cafe's unreal, cafe lifestyle. Like go for a walk down sort of Broad Beach and then Burleigh and go for a coffee and all that sort of stuff. I love that, eh? But I felt like it was a real transient community and quite cliquey, hard to sort of get. Like, it's real social, but at the same time, it's hard to get real close with people. Well, not like what I felt here in Auckland, I felt like it's pretty easy to make real strong connections, which maybe that's my fault in the Gold Coast, but I didn't really make very, very strong connections there. Yeah.
And coming home, what drove you home?
My missus was actually tried to leave me.
Oh,
she came home, and she's like, I'm going home. I'm going to Kirikiri, and I was like, fuck, I'm staying in Australia. This is mint. Loving it. I think I was just partying a bit as well. I was like, after a month, I think I stayed for a month, and I was like, oh nah, I'll go back and be with Sash, and ended up, having the best New Zealand summer ever. And it can be, New Zealand summer is pretty unbeatable when it's good. And I thought, I could be pretty happy here. And lucky I did, because 6 months later, our body came down with cancer and got treated so well with the New Zealand system. So I've got nothing good to say. I mean, nothing bad to say about how well I was treated through that whole process of being sick in that, because it was so quick and efficient. So in the end, it was a good decision to come back, I think. The treatment I got offered in New Zealand cost $600,000 in the US. So you can imagine, like, even if I was in Australia, I think things might have been different,
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
And prior to that, what did you do in the mines, and how did you
I worked in oil and gas construction, and actually loved it. Like, I worked for a Dutch company for many years, bringing in all these modular systems from Korea. Everything gets like sort of welded up in Korea in like a big modular system, like all the piping and everything like that, and gets brought on these docks, and we used to pull them off the docks and onto site. Like our biggest lift was 60,000 tons. Wow. Some huge stuff. Yeah. Like I think we had Australasia's biggest lift at the time through this company, working on $1 billion, multi-billion-dollar projects in Australia. It's huge gas plants up in Western Australia, and it was pretty cool work at the time. Good money, but away a lot, and I think that didn't help, back home.
Classic, man. So you said there at the start that you've got a crew of people together up there in Kirikiri that'll do anything for you.
Yeah.
Where did the idea for this turf was it turf games? Turf games?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do they got to do there?
Yeah. Well, we literally I don't even know how it came about. I think someone sent it to me on Instagram. Look at this, looks cool. And I thought, oh, maybe a crew would be keen to do that. And then bloody 24 people were keen, and like all these people were putting their hand up, and I was like, oh shit. So yeah, we've made teams for that, and basically the teams of 6, 3 females, 3 males. And it's trying to like take over CrossFit a little bit. It's CrossFit without the gymnastics, which is basically how my training as well, and how we do at our gym. We basically do like powerlifting, a little bit of Olympic lifting, a little bit of bodybuilding, and obviously our conditioning as well. In my opinion, the best way to train, all those aspects. And gymnastics only suits like a small percentage of people. And if you haven't got the mobility or the limbs for it, you're pretty well stuffed. And it suits everyone. You could train a 70-year-old in that way, or a 20-year-old, and they can both get a good workout out of it. I think CrossFit's great with the community and all that sort of stuff, but it doesn't suit the average punter, which is a good reason why I think it's probably dying out a little bit. And you get those overuse injuries from repetitive barbell work. So whenever we do barbell work, we don't really do very high repetitions of it, because you can imagine you're doing 100 reps of a snatch. Do you think how many of those are going to be good form? And it's not CrossFit's fault, but it's just where the breakdown is a little bit. Yeah,
I don't know why, but I was trying to program back snatches, and I was doing like 1, 1, 1, 1. And I was like, hey, cool, because exactly that. I was like, want to get my snatch smooth and efficient and the best it can be, because exactly that, you like get to those higher weights, and then your form breaks down, and you go, oh, and it wasn't until I like managed to get one bit moving right, and then create the next movement, that I realized that I'm doing that movement wrong too. It's just because I've done so many, like you say, average reps, that then when you go to do perfect reps, and you go, they're not right.
No, yeah. So a lot of our conditioning stuff will be done with a lot of the machines, where it's just a bit safer, you're not gonna hurt yourself doing a 500-meter sprint on the rower, opposed to doing 100 snatches. I don't know why I'm using that, but like 100 pull-ups or anything like that, you know what I mean? You're gonna best likely get overuse injury stuff as well. What
sort of age bracket have you got in your gym?
Oh man, yeah. So I think I brought up 69 because that's we've got a 69-year-old's our oldest, and there's a couple which are amazing, and our youngest is 14.
Nice.
And they're coming to classes and all that sort of stuff. So it's huge age gap. So we're gonna make sure we cater to everyone, which isn't too hard really, because you just kind of change weights and change targets, change intensity within a class. If it's programmed properly, it's not too hard, I don't think. Because I get that question asked a lot. Oh, I'm not fit enough to come to your class, not strong enough. I'm like, oh, we got 2 69-year-olds. Like, I'm pretty sure that I can find a spot for you. And this will be like a 40-year-old telling me,
Yeah.
But these two are amazing. They are. And if they can do it, anyone can do it, man.
I was asking you about that strap. Did everyone have a strap in the class?
Yeah. So, well, not everyone. So what I've done is I've got it for cost off my zone, and I've just I just look, guys, I'm not going to make any money out of this. I want everyone to have one if you want one. And so we've got like one of the best uptakes out of any club. Basically, that's what the MyZone rep told me. I think there's a big lot of us. I think there might be 60 or 70 of us. So more than half the club have them. And it's pretty cool. Like we've got like a top 20 leaderboard. They're awesome. At the same time, they create like some unnecessary training as well, because people are saying
people are pushing it instead of program going into the program.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, like we'll have people like do the class program, and then they'll come back in the afternoon and do more, because it pushes their points up, and there's a leaderboard there and everything. Which isn't like a detriment to some of them, but some of them, it's they're already lean, they're quite strong, and then it's basically just going to make them tired for like the next day. They're not going to recover well. So you've got the opposite problem happening, Like you got people training too much.
Yeah, I was cracking up. Eddie Dawkins, who has E45 down in Christchurch, they went for a 7K run, him and his partner yesterday, and he was pushing heart rates of like, I think averaged was 159 and pushing into the 180s. And I'm like, Eddie, mate, you're into your 30s now, bro. You're pushing the red line.
Yeah.
Where's that zone 2, mate? 120. Get down.
Yeah. I mean, I never hit red anymore, Like hardly ever. Yeah. I'll be lucky to get there. Yeah, once every couple of weeks.
Yeah. I miss my heart rate monitor. I need to reinvest in something, and because exactly that, I'm sort of doing zone 2 based on if I can hold nasal breathing while I'm out for a run, then I'm probably in the right spot. But yeah, I'd love to get some calibration, go out and sprint the hill out in front of me a couple of times and see how high it goes, and then work off that or something like that.
I love that.
Not so keen on the old finger prick testing the lactate.
Yeah.
Can we get that in New Zealand? Oh, it's probably one of those things. You go to the pharmacy and they're like, you want a what? A lactate.
Yeah, they would understand that. Yeah.
I know it was hard enough, even as a non-diabetic, going, oh, I see that glucose monitor over there. Can I get one of those? No, you're not allowed them. You're like, okay. No, it's cool. Yeah, while I was asking on that sort of age bracket, do people sort of have goals of being fit and strong for life? Like that's pretty inspirational. A couple of 69-year-olds working on things.
I'm coming across like more and more people having that. There's some like quite motivated people that are at our gym that are, 55, 60, they talk like that. And they're saying all the right things, they're like, they're seeing their friends slow down. They don't want to slow down, but they're generally people that have kept quite active anyway, and they really don't want to lose it. Like I just thinking off another lady off the top of my head, she's 60 and she's like in really good nick and actually starting to push some awesome weights because she's kept herself in such good nick and she moves so well and she's so into it. But she's like, oh, I'm just noticing my friends can't, when we go on holiday, they can't do these walks, can't do these things that that I want to do, and their holidays are like crap. They just sit by the pool and sip cocktails and that. And funny enough, the 69-year-olds, I just took them to Thailand, and I don't know if you know about this place called Geelong, where they've got Tiger Muay Thai and they call it Fighting Street, and they've got all these gyms. It's my favorite place in the world. It's just like one strip that's about 3K long with all these protein bars and restaurants that serve macro friendly foods and all these kickboxing gyms, weightlifting gyms, and boot camp stuff as well. I took them there, and we trained twice a day for 2 weeks, and we did a few runs up into the bushes and stuff. They're 69 years old. They did all the stuff with us, and they were completely fine, no injuries. They were fit enough that they enjoyed the classes. They didn't want to do any of the real. There was like a couple of real hard classes. I took the guy for one of them. I just about died, and one of them was because it's like 40 degrees as well. It was labeled as a hard class, and he was like, he was like, oh, we'll just stick to the other ones, for the rest of the holiday. I was like, yeah, no, fair enough. Like I'm keen for that. They really enjoyed their holiday and they were amazing. And for me, I'm like, I want to be like you guys. Like you guys don't know how awesome you are. I'm 35 next month, and to think that I'm in 30, I got 34 more like good years, and then when I'm that, and you guys can still do this, like I want to do that, man. That's like they look like they could do that for at least another few years, like they're strong. They come to class every day, like. The old fella, he deadlifted 140 like a month back, and he had a bad back for years. And when he first came to me, he couldn't even like barely pick 50 kilos off the ground. So like they've just done that over a couple of years, being consistent. Fucking inspirational, man. Like that's the ticket right there, I reckon.
Absolutely, mate. It's like Oh, the internet's great because you can see all these people. Like
Yeah.
I followed Derek Woodski, and then there's like Jocko Willink and Cameron Haynes, obviously Rogan and things like that. Peter Adair, and I'm just like got all these things. And then New Zealand, we've got Darren Ellis. I'm sorry to call you throwing the L pole, Darren, but like he's doing the 40 to 50 age bracket, and like I've just started to find a few more guys around the country that are sort of in their 30s, going right. We're not training for something anymore, but we've got to keep strong and keep active, and yeah, it's just good that's out there, and hopefully it inspires me. Like I love people like that because there's no bloody excuse.
Exactly, and it's so good because I can use them in just about every class. Like, and I feel bad, like if a 69-year-old lady's beating you, like something wrong, but get up, like it's such an easy like no one can argue with that,
It must be great for the 14-year-old as well to just like remove the ego as well. Like, I was definitely guilty as a young one, just be like, go hard, and then you might blow out. But and then it'd be great to be then lapped or like just see the way that they finish it and be like, oh,
yes,
I've blown it, so maybe I need to pace myself a bit better. Or those sorts of lessons will come around fast, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice, man. So you're Keri, where are people finding you? Can people from outside of the region tap into what you're doing, or?
Yeah. I think I'm pretty active on Instagram. I just at GJ Hill_PT, but I'm doing a lot of stuff on our fitness lab Instagram. I'm doing a lot on our fitness lab Instagram now, and that's just that fitness lab. Geez, I don't even know what it is actually. How bad is that?
We'll get it in the show notes. Don't worry, mate.
Yeah. I feel like the gym has become, and the people has become so important to me, and I'm doing a lot on there now, and it's like just trying to educate through that platform now. Awesome. I think it's more like, I don't know, it feels like it's more pure and more fitness, whereas my personal Instagram, might attract a lot of followers because it's like shirtless photos and stuff like that. I don't know, just dumb stuff like that, Yeah. I'm finding it hard to post on my personal page now because I don't want to.
I saw Sam Kane even asked you if you owned a shirt there.
Oh yeah, what a stare, mate! I wanted to, yeah. Of course he'd say that. I was like waiting for someone to say something like that. Of course he would notice something like that. Yeah.
No, that was good quality, mate. So you've been through shitloads, and like you said, there was moments there where you just wanted it over with and didn't want to do it anymore. Now you're through all that, life is on where you'd hoped it would be. What keeps you in flow, man? What do you have, a mantra or a way you live your life, or some sort of quote that's in the back of your mind that shows up in those good times now?
Yeah, I don't really have a mantra like that, but one thing that's really helped me or given me so many good days is even just like thinking about the people that have passed and how lucky I am and how fortunate I am to be here. But like you only have to look just beside you to see someone who's way less fortunate. We worry about so many things that aren't significant, and I like even like day to day, I think I find happiness in actually helping people in the gym, even that you can tell are just mentally like struggling. They'll come in and they won't say hello to you properly or something like that, and I think I find a lot of joy, and even that it lifts me a lot if I can just try to change that attitude when they come through the door. And it's not just the gym; it's anywhere. But I think going through that sickness has actually helped me be that person, because I think before that I was a bit more selfish and actually thought like, I know I didn't really care, but I don't want to say I didn't care about anyone else, but I didn't have that empathy, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think, spreading a bit of happiness or a bit of love it definitely helps heaps. It helps, if you have someone, you feel like shit the rest of the day. If you say something good to someone and have a nice conversation to pick someone up, you'll absolutely feel good for the rest of the day. You will, 100%. Yeah, I don't know. Just connecting with people, man. I have to say, just connecting with people helps a lot. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time on a Monday evening. and
Never
let you,
cool, I tell you.
I'll let you get back to your beautiful wife, and hopefully, is your child off to bed, or you still get some time there?
Oh yeah, he's off to bed. He's a bit grizzly. He should. What is the time? 17? Oh no, yeah, he'll go away for sure.
Nice, man. Thank you so much.